Hello, dear students. Welcome to the class and welcome to the session which you were all waiting for. And from today, we'll start ICAR JRF 2026 revision series of PYQs and that too unit wise. आप लोग काफ़ी टाइम से वेट कर रहे थे एंड द डे हैज़ केम और अभी से आज आप सभी की एंटोमोलॉजी की जो क्लास चालू हो रही है उसमें आप यूनिट वाइज PYQ सॉल्व करने वाले हो और आज जो PYQ सॉल्व करने वाले हो दैट इज फील्ड हॉर्टिकल्चर एंड स्टोरेज पेस्ट बाय नन अनदर देन योर फेवरेट रघु सर और आप लोगों के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होने वाला है सेशन सो बी प्रोएक्टिव इन दिस सेशन जो भी सर क्वेश्चन कर रहे हो एटलीस्ट आप लोगों को अगर पता है देन वेरी गुड पता हो ना पता हो आप लाइव सेशन में लिखो ताकि आप इंटरेक्टिव सेशन बना रखो सर प्लीज ये लाइव सेशन बच्चों को देखते रहना ये जो गलत करते हैं ना उनको थोड़ा डांट भी देना है ना सो लेट्स स्टार्ट द क्लास एंड ऑल द बेस्ट सर
Thank you. Good evening, students. So today we will start the unit-wise PYQs, and the first unit is pest of field crops, horticulture crops, and stored grain pest. So then later on we can move to other chapters. Okay. Okay. And the first question is, which one of the following is the sugarcane root borer? So here we are having four options. The first option is Sesamia inferens and Scirpophaga niveella and Scirpophaga incertulus and Emalocera depressella. So I think most of students know this answer. So if you know answer, you can text the message in the chat box. First, clearly read the question. Which one of the following is the sugarcane root borer? So many of the students are telling 2, but it actually the answer is 4, not 2. Here we know the Sesamia inferens is pink stem borer. Then Scirpophaga niveella is the sugarcane top shoot borer. Then Scirpophaga incertulus is yellow stem borer YSB. Then Emalocera depressella is our answer. So mainly this pest will tunnels the root parts and reduces the sugarcane vigorness and its yield also. So here we have to see the question properly, that is sugarcane root borer. So here we can see the explanation. Sesame inferens is pink stem borer. Already we have discussed that attacks even sugarcane and other cereal crops. Then after Scirpophaga niveella, that is top borer of sugarcane. And we are having 3 borers mainly: early shoot borer, internode shoot borer, and top shoot borer. Then after the root borers. And apart from this, we are having the 11 other pests from sugarcane which acts as borer. So there are 15 borer complex in case of sugarcane. So Scirpophaga incertulus, the monophagous pest of rice, that is yellow stem borer, you all know. So our answer is Emalocera depressella, which is known as the sugarcane root borer, and larva bore into underground portions and roots and reduce cane vigor and yield. So here the next question is, which of the following stored grain pest is incapable of feeding on the whole grain? So yeah, first this we should know the classification of stored grain pest. We will have the primary pest and secondary pest, and the primary pest here we can write. primary pest and secondary pest, and again in primary we are having the internal and external feeders. So what is primary pest? The pest which attacks the sound grain. Okay. And the secondary pest is opposite to it, which doesn't attack the sound grain and it attacks the milled products or the secondary products of the produce. So here we all know. Anyone? Answer for this. Which of the following stored grain pest is incapable of feeding on the whole grain? Anyone? If you know the answer, you can text in the chat box. Anyone? Students, the answer is red floor beetle. Tribolium castanum or Tribolium confusum. Yes, now you are responding. Okay. So this is the classification of the stored grain pest, and we will divide the what are the examples comes under internal feeders and what comes under the external feeders in the later questions. So here is the explanation. The first one is the rice weevil, Cytophilus oryzae. Then after the red floor beetle, that is Tribolium castanum, Capra beetle, that is Strogoderma granarium, lesser grain borer is Rhizoperta dominica. This all we know. Then here one more. So here we are having the matching, very simple matching, only the common name and the scientific name of it. So from the day one, I am telling in the pest portion, you need to focus on its taxonomy part, means the pest common name, scientific name and family and its order, and the peculiar symptoms and the peculiar management practices for that pest is more than enough. Okay. So here we can see on one side they have given the common names and the second side they have given the scientific names. And the pulse beetle, can anyone tell the option? Yes, somebody said the answer is 3. Good. So here pulse beetle is Calosobruchus chinensis, then rice weevil is Cytophilus oryzae. Then after we are having the tobacco beetle, Lasioderma sericoni or the cigarette beetle, and the drugstore beetle is Stegobium panicum. So A2, B3, C1, D4. Option is third one. Good. So this is the explanation. The pulse beetle Calosobruchus chinensis or the bruchid beetle. Then rice weevil we are having tobacco beetle, which is also called as a cigarette beetle. And here drugstore beetle, the Stegobium panicum, also known as the bread beetle or biscuit beetle. Why? Because infested stored products like drugs, flour, bread and dry fruits were attacked by this beetle. Simple. So the next question is, which one of the following is an internal grain feeder? Anyone? Yes, good. Some of the students texting option 1 or the A, that is pulse beetle. So we all know this Indian meal moth, Capra beetle. Then after rice moth, that is Corcyra cephalonica, comes under external feeder. So the internal feeder is the pulse beetle. Apart from pulse beetle, again we are having the 9 internal feeders. Okay, so can anyone name them? What are the other internal feeders? Any few of them at least? So we were having like rice weevil, cigarette or tobacco beetle, drugstore beetle, pulse beetle, tamarind beetle, then anguous grain moth, potato tuber moth, lesser grain borer. So these are the rest 9 internal feeders apart from pulse beetle. So by this time you should get some idea, like in the stored grain pest, mostly we need to know about its classification, how stored grain pest was divided, like primary feeders and the secondary primary pest and secondary pest, and in again in primary internal feeders and external feeders. So if you could remember this in flowchart, it will be very useful in answering such questions. Yeah, and this is the pulse beetle. So under the next question is, under natural conditions, Drostica mangifera lays ovisac inside the is nothing but egg. They are asking about the oviposition site. Anyone? The important pest from mango, and it is having the important oviposition site and important management practice also. Yes, anyone? Yes, again one student is telling it's 3. Yes, it's correct. Soil cracks. What happens now? It lays eggs in the soil, and in the month of April to May, it will lays its egg, and until then it hibernates in the soil. When the nymphs emerge or the crawlers emerge, they will crawl up to the mango tree, and that's why we will use the alkathin band, the 400 gauge polythene sheet. Polythene sheet of 25 centimeters wide, and we will apply any grease or any insecticide to that, so that when the nymphs cannot crawl up to the mango tree. Okay, so it is the important management practice for this mango mealybug. So explanation: soil cracks, female mango mealybug Drostica mangifera lays eggs in the soil cracks near the tree base in ovisacs covered with the wax, the peculiar character. So here we are having the pest from soybean. Here we can see the 2 statements. One is the destructive stage of the Aperorima modicella is adult in groundnut, and the statement 2, destructive stage of Aperorima modicella is larva in groundnut. So we know Aperorima modicella is the groundnut leaf miner or soybean leaf miner. Anything? So what will be the option for this question? Either both statement 1 and 2 are correct, or both statement 1 and 2 are incorrect. Statement 1 is correct but statement 2 is incorrect, or the last option, statement 1 is incorrect but statement 2 is correct. What will be the answer? So for this you should know that biology, the damaging stage. Again one person said maggot damaging stage. Yes, option is D, good. Statement 1 is incorrect but statement 2 is correct. Yeah. So Aperorima modicella, it's nothing but groundnut leaf miner. Okay. So what is its biology or the nature of damage? The larva mines into the leaves. then after it starts feeding where the leaves get distorted, then after it will be dried in the later stages. So we can see the burnt up appearance. So the important symptom is burnt up appearance from the distance. So it is the peculiar symptom in case of the Aperorima modicella. Okay. So larva, after, yeah. Important question about the invasive pest. Okay, Sanjo scale is devastating to the crop. Here we are having 4 options. They were papaya and banana, grape and apple. So which crop it will attack? Apple, very good. Someone sent the picture. It is apple. So Sanjo scale, here one more point we should recall is Sanjo scale is an invasive pest and it is introduced from China. Okay, and it is having one biological control agent. Rhinosy. Okay. Rhinosy. Okay, it is an important biological agent and it was a Sanjo scale is a invasive pest from the China. Okay, and we more having one more invasive pest in case of citrus. Can anyone tell what is that invasive pest in chat box? Yes, anyone? And the important symptom is purple color discoloration on the fruits. Okay, which reduces the market value. Yes, some of the student answered it is a Icaria purchasey, very good. It's nothing but cottony cushiony scale, okay, which attacks the citrus crop. So here while coming to Sanjo scale, it is an invasive pest that came from China and important biological control agent is Encartia perinosi. And the important symptom is we can see the purple color discoloration on the fruit, which reduces the market value of the fruit. So coming to the next question, given below are 2 statements and the statement 1 is Capra beetle survives in the storage under very low content of oxygen availability. And statement 2, Capra beetle develops in open storage conditions along with the lesser grain borer. Can anyone answer this? Anyone? Yes, Ankit Kumar. 3, good. Yes, 3 option is statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. Yes, it's the correct option. So Capra beetle survives in the low moisture conditions and low oxygen conditions. But it will not be associated with the lesser grain borer or some other pest. It will occur individually. So the third option is correct. That is statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. So here also same again, the scientific name and the common names. So here we can see that this side they have given scientific names, on the right side they have given the common names, and the first one is Liposcalius divinatorius, and that is Orezophilus surinamensis, Acarus syro, Lethaticus oryzae. And here they are giving Socoid, long-headed floor beetle, then after saw-toothed grain beetle and storage mite. Actually it was off, but they should give like this, storage mite or the grain mite. They should complete it. Okay. Long-headed floor beetle it is. Here also they have missed something. Okay. So anyone? Oh, they have responded already. Option was 3. Very good. Many of the students gave correct answer. So Liposcalus divinatorius is socoid, which acts as a scavenger that usually goes in the moist and dampy places of the storage conditions. And Oryzophilus surinamensis is nothing but saw-toothed grain beetle that belongs to the family Sylvanidae. And Acarus syro is the storage mite or the grain mite. And Lethaticus oryzae is long-headed floor beetle. So our option goes A4, then B3, C1, D2 is nothing but option 3, correct. And the next question is, gallflies are grouped under the family. Very easy question. All gall midges belong to the family. Students, yes, 4. 4, 4, 4, 4. Yes, and important characters about Cecidomidae. The larvae will have chest bone, sternal spatula. Then adults are brightly reddish orange in color with telescopic body, and which causes galls. That's why gall flies. Okay. Here our option is Cecidomidae. Gall flies belongs to the family Cecidomidae. Picture. Ah. And the next one is, the brush-footed legs are found in option 1 nymphallid butterflies, option 2 lycanid butterflies, option 3 noctuid moths, and fourth one is the spinged moths. So for this you need to know the family and its common name. So one boy responded, it is option 1 correct. It is nothing but nymphallid butterflies, and you should know the reason too. So knowing answer is one kind of study, and knowing with the reason is very good study. So which helps in your further education. So it is a brush-footed legs are found in the nymphallid butterflies. The common name is brush-footed or four-footed butterflies. Okay. Here, so we know insects will have 3 pairs of legs. So what happens in the thoracic legs now? First 4 legs are short and hairy. Mainly exclusively 4 tibia will be very hairy. So these hairs will give the appearance of brush, hairbrush. So that's why the name itself brush-footed legs or the four-footed legs. Okay, and usually these will be attached to thoracic segments and will not be useful in flight. So licaniid butterflies, blue butterflies or copper butterflies, noctuid moths, spinged moths, yeah, and it is the image. So the next one is antennae shorter than body and consist less than 30 segments are. So here we can see the tridactyloidea, tetragonoidea, acrodoidea and graylactidea that are nothing but superfamilies. The term which ends with oidea is superfamily and subfamily ends with inne. So it's very easy, antennae that have less than 30 segments. Many students responding it's 3. Yes, it's correct. Acridoidea is nothing but consists of the family Acrididae, that is short-horned grasshoppers. Short-horned grasshoppers. Knowing this much is not enough. Then we need to know why other 3 options are not correct even too. So Tettigonidae is our longhorn grasshoppers. This thing we know. Longhorn grasshoppers. Then what are the common names for the tridac Tridactylidae and the Grailacrididae? Usually Idae, the family. So if it becomes, it is the pygmy mole crickets. Pygmy mole crickets. So here we can write clearly pygmy mole crickets. Then it is longhorn grasshoppers. So simply I am keeping HG. Then it is shorthorn grasshoppers, raspy crickets. So these are the common names for 4 different families. Okay, pygmy mole crickets, then longhorn grasshoppers, then shorthorn grasshoppers and Graylactidae. And mainly on these antennal segments, we have divided the order Orthoptera into 2. One of the peculiar character, Califera and Encifera. In that the families divide. So here in the shorthorn grasshoppers, they will be less than 30, and in longhorn grasshoppers, it will be more than 30. The differentiation character. Yeah, 3 for example. An easy question, you need to answer this. Body and wings covered with pigmented scales. Yes, 13th one answer. Yes, many of the students were responding. It's 2, that is Lepidoptera. So leaf mining flies belong to the family. Yes, leaf mining flies. Fourth, good, it's correct. Leaf mining flies belongs to the family Agromyzidae. Here they have given spelling mistake. It's Agromyzidae. Yeah. And the 15th question is, in which of the following insects the adult and grub feed on the grain by making a small hole. Anyone knows this answer? Some student gave 3 and one more person gave 1. C. 1 or C? 1 or 3? Somebody gave D. Somebody gave 2. Only 1 will be the correct option. No, Capra beetle is not. Okay, and here the answer is rice weevil. Okay, not the Capra beetle or pulse beetle or lesser green borer. So for this, you need to know the damaging stages of the pest. Both in Capra beetle and pulse beetle, adults do not feed. That thing you should know. Then after lesser grain borer, both adults and the larva will feed and cause the damage. So here they are giving the important word, that is making a small holes. Okay, that is rice weevil. And in case of lesser grain borer, we can see somewhat big hole when considered with the rice weevil, and that too a circular hole we can see. And for this question, NTA gave the option 1, the Capra beetle. Somebody is texting in the chat box, but actually it's a wrong. Okay, so the answer is rice weevil. Okay, sometimes it happens, NTA gives the wrong key. Yes. And the 16th question, here they have included the pest of cotton. Pectinophora gospiella, Disteris koinegi, then after Pheinococcus solenopsis, Coleoptera derogata. And this side they have given 2 families and 2 symptoms. And it's very easy. Yes, sir, please check the voice. Yes, I'm not audible or clear. Okay, now we will solve this. Pectinophora gospiella, the cotton pink bollworm, the important symptom is double seed formation. This thing you know. Disderes koinegi, that is nothing but cotton red stainers or the cotton stainers, that belongs to the family Phyrochoridae. Then Pheinococcus solenopsis is mealybug, that is sooty mold, all the sucking pest common symptom. Then Coleoptera derogata is cotton leaf roller, that is belongs to the family Pyralidae. So A2, then after B1, C4, D3, option 1 correct. Most of the students gave correct option 1. Sooty mole symptom and the double seed formation, pink bollworm. So which one of the following is a pest of Noni morinda citrifolia? So usually we will not read the pest of Noni fruit, but in describing the pest alternate host or the secondary host, we will give that. Can anyone know this answer? 17th question. A, most of the students gave correct. Yes, many of the students gave correct answer. It's 1, Achaia geneta. Okay, it's nothing but castor semilooper. Okay, which acts as a secondary fruit sucking moth, and it's important. Okay, and this the next options when we could say Spoldea recurvalis, that is pest of Amaranthus, normally called as a Amaranthus, the pest of Amaranthus, the minor pest. Then after Diocoris punctiferalis, previous name. Now it is Conogethys punctiferalis, castor, shoot and capsule borer, and Marasmia patnalis is leaf folder. Okay, rice leaf folder. So it comes in case of castor, shoot and capsule borer. Apart from Naphalocrosis medinalis, we are having Marasmia patnalis. So another insect. The damaging symptom of the blister spots towards the leaf tip in rice is caused by. The first option is white rice leaf hopper, that is Cophena spectra, and the next option is rice hispa, that is Dicladispa armigera, and rice striped bug, that is Tetroida hysteroides, and viral maggot is Hydrilla philippinea. Here directly you can eliminate two things. In case of sucking pest, we cannot see the blister spots. That thing we know. So here we need to go for some elimination technique. Okay. So here this will not be the answer, the white rice leaf hopper. Then after the striped bug, Tetroida hysteroides, both are sucking pest complex. So it will not cause any blister spots. Okay. So the rest of the options is rice hispa and viral maggot we are having. So if you could recall about the rice hispa, the both stages, adult and the grub, both are the damaging stages. Okay. And in case of adult, we can see the rectangular streaks. Rectangular streaks parallel to the wings, and grub we can see the blister spots. This peculiar symptom, what they are given, blister spots towards the leaf tip. Why? Because grubs mines in the leaves and causes the blister spots. So this thing we should to know. And in case of viral maggot, we can see the tip. Here something, if rice leaf is there, in the edges of the leaves we can see whitening of the leaf tip, we can see in the field conditions. Okay, and we can see the damaging symptoms, holes on the leaves too, that is caused by viral maggot. But specifically blister spots are caused by the rice hispa, Dicladispa armigera. So this is the peaks, and we can see the rectangular streaks. Yes. And the next one is 19th question. Given below two statements, again statement wise questions. Statement 1, Thrips tabaci infest onion plants in field as well as the bulbs during the storage conditions. So for this again you need to have the idea whether the pest attacks in the field or in the storage conditions or both the conditions. Okay, so if you could know that, you will know the statements thing. So Thrips tabaci infest the onion plants and even the bulbs, even in the field condition and even in the storage conditions. So first statement is correct, and thrips feeding and oviposition causes laceration of the tissues. That is also correct. It's biology, nature of damage. So here the both statements are correct. Yeah, both statements are correct, and many of the students gave correct answer A or 1. Okay. The scientific name of Anguus grain moth. So here again we need to know the taxonomy, the scientific name. Corcyra cephalonica, rice moth. This thing we know. Cytotroga cerariella we know. Tribolium castanum is red floor beetle we know. Rhizopartha dominica, lesser grain borer. LGB. So our answer is Cytotroga cerariella. Okay. Which attacks the sorghum crop or other cereal crops in both field condition and as well as in the storage condition too. Okay, that thing we should know here. Very easy questions they have given. They have not given the complex questions from the pest portion. So the next one again statement wise questions. The mango stone or nut weevil is a polyphagous insect of fruits. is the first statement. And the second one is mango stone weevil causes shedding of fruits with feeding punctures. So what will be the option? Many of the students are telling it's 2. Correct. Both the statements are incorrect. Mainly, first of all, mango nut weevil or stone weevil is monophagous pest, not the polyphagous pest. It is monophagous. Okay. It is monophagous pest here. And mango stone weevil causes shedding of fruits. Okay, but not with the feeding punctures. On the fruit, everything, the fruit seems to be very beautiful with no infestation, but inside the damage causes. Okay, so on the fruit we cannot see any feeding puncture, so this statement also wrong. This is also wrong since they gave the polyphagous, but it is a monophagous pest. So both the statements are incorrect. Apart from mango nut weevil, there is one more pest which acts as a monophagous pest in case of mango. Can anyone answer it? Monophagous pest of mango. Anyone? Yes, very good. It's mango leaf hoppers. Amritodas atkinsoni, Idioscopus cryplealis, and Nibiosparsus. We are having 3 species in that again. The largest, smallest, and medium one. So this completed. It's 2. Then the next question is, which of the following causes the dead heart symptom in the standing maize crop? Yes, students. So here they have gave 4 options. Again, in that they have choose the correct answer from the options A and C, B, C, and B and C only. So in the first, they have given armyworm, earworm, stem borer, and cutworm. Stem borer, only stem borer. Only stem borer. Many of the students see 3. Yes, it's option 3. Only the stem borer will cause us the dead hearts. So C only. So armyworm, Mythimna separata. Then earworm or ear-headed caterpillar is our Helicoverpa. Then cutworm is Agrotis epsilon. You know. So option is 3, dead heart symptom photo. So it's by looking into question, many students feel that it's very hard question or like that. But it's actually this matching is very simple. Only few points we should know. Yes, can anyone give the correct answer for this matching? Indian meal moth, Angus grain moth, the almond moth, and the rice moth. And here they have given its characteristics. To confuse the students, they have given that book or the theory proposed like that, but it's only its characters. Okay. The feeding damage. Yes, anyone? Many students gave 4, but actually 4 is wrong. So how I will tell? So Indian meal moth, that is Plodia interpunctella, and now students are giving correct answer. It's 1. Yes, it's correct. And Angus grain moth, we all know it will causes the damage in the standing crop and as well as in the storage conditions too. So here we can connect this Angus grain moth. Initial infestation takes place in the grain at the field itself at the milking stage. Yes, this is correct. And the Indian meal moth have the characteristic mating movements during the mating, that is fluttering movement. During the courtship is nothing but mating. So this will have the this one A1, B3. Then after the almond moth, okay, this almond moth, the larva first feeds on the germ point. So if you could read in from Triple E book, there you can find this point. Okay, then after rice moth, the moth is larger than any other moths. Yes, it's large. So if we could match this completely, A1 and B3 and C4 and D2. So option 1 will be the answer. Simple. So now from the pest of field crops or the horticulture or stored grain pest, you need to know their taxonomic position, their peculiar symptoms, and sometimes the nature of damage and all, and the important management practices for them. Okay. So this one is bit complicated. In the Indian subcontinent, two most widespread genetic groups of Bemisia tabaci is Asia 1 and Asia 2-1. These questions or these points you cannot may find anywhere, but sometimes they ask, and for this the answer is 4. Okay. And one more important question. Of late, the damage by gallfly Lasiotera falcata has been of the rise in. This question also you may not find somewhere, since because it's an emerging pest. So it is the major pest of the bitter gourd. So the major or the primary host is bitter gourd, then comes the later cucurbits. Okay. Yeah, beautiful insect. The required moisture content for the storage of seed of oil seed crop. Students, anyone knows this? The required moisture content for the storage of oil seed crops. So 2 students responded, it's 3. Yes, 8% is the correct answer. Okay. And for cereals, it's 10 to 12% like that. Or sometimes some books you may find 12 to 14%, but oil seeds, it is 8%. So the first pest all the students will read from the rice is yellow stem borer, and its peculiar symptom they have asked in this question. White earhead in rice is due to attack of. Very simple question. White earhead in rice is due to attack of. Yes. So only few responded. Rest of the students. Dead hearts at vegetative stage. White earheads at reproductive stage. Leaf clippings we will do. Okay. Only few students responded, around 5 students. Rest of the students, very easy question. From the first pest we have read in the class, it's nothing but our yellow stem borer, Scirpophaga insectivus. Okay, so option will be 2. Same again here also. The common name and the scientific name and the matching they have given. So here we can see on the other side, is Capra beetle, lesser grain borer, drugstore beetle, and cigarette beetle. And in here on the other side, the scientific names we can see the Rhizoperta domestica, Stegobium panicum, and Lasoderma sericoni, Trogoderma granarium. Okay, simple. Capra beetle, Trogoderma granarium, lesser grain borer, Rhizoperta domestica. Here we will connect. Lesser grain borer, this one. And drugstore beetle is Stegobium panicum. Then after the cigarette beetle is Lasioderma sericoni. So A4, A4, B1, C2, and D3. So our option is second one. 4. Many of the students responded it's 2, 2, 2. Yes, it's correct. Option 2 is correct. So the 29th question. Recently, the Marca vitrata, a pest of pigeon pea, that is red gum, found to infest on which oilseed crop? And this also we have discussed in the class. Marca vitrata infest which of the oilseed crop? Only few students responded D or 4. Yeah, that is correct. The Marca vitrata also infests the soybean crop. The same questions what we have discussed or where we have highlighted in the class, many of the questions were repeating. It's soybean. Yeah, Marca vitrata photo. Then the 30th question. Which among the following insect can survive at less than 2% stored grain moisture? So I have mentioning earlier, Capra beetle can survive under the low moisture content and low oxygen content. So it is Trogoderma granarium, that is nothing but Trogoderma granarium. Okay, Capra beetle. Rhynchophorus ferruginous is the scientific name of. Here they are asking common name. They have gave scientific name and asking for the common name. Rhynchophorus ferruginous is the scientific name of either coconut weevil, mango leaf hopper, cabbage butterfly, or lemon butterfly. Yes, Rhynchophorus ferruginous. Only one student responded A or 1. Yes, it's correct. Actually, it is red palm weevil. So there is having another name for coconut weevil, but in these options, the most appropriate option is coconut weevil. Otherwise, they should need to give the correct option like red palm weevil. Okay. So mango leaf hopper, we know we are having the 3 species in that. Amritodas atkinsoni, the largest one. Then after Cyplialis, the smallest one, and Neviosparsus is the medium leaf hopper in that. And cabbage butterfly, Pyrus brassica or Pyrus repe, we know. And lemon butterfly is nothing but our citrus butterfly. Okay. Yeah. The confusing question and the important question from the flowchart came. That is, Capra beetle is something like that they are asking, and they are given 4 options: primary internal pest, secondary pest, primary pest, and can damage both internally and externally, and primary external pest. That's what in the initial itself I have said you should know the classification of the stored grain pest, so that it will be useful for you for answering such questions. So anyone knows this? One student kept 4. Yes, it's a primary external pest. So before that, we will draw a flow chart for this possible spaces there. Here itself we can draw. So option is the primary external pest. So we are having the stored grain pest. We can write here. We can write stored grain pest. Like this, we will classify primary pest. And on this other side, come like this. And secondary pest we can classify. And in that again, we can classify them as internal feeders and here this side we can feed for external feeders. And this much we have discussed in the initial questions. So now what insects will come under the internal feeders and what insects will come under external feeders we will discuss. So here we are having the rice weevil, sweet potato weevil, then cigarette or tobacco beetle. Okay, then after lesser grain borer. Okay, pulse beetle we are having. Are you able to understand, students? So many of the students gave primary external. Yeah, that's correct. Answer is primary external is correct, and we were discussing the rest of the classification. Okay. So then after we are having rice weevil, sweet potato weevil, cigarette or tobacco beetle. Then after what we are having? Lesser grain borer, pulse beetle, anguous grain moth we are having, potato tuber moth we are having, then drugstore beetle we are having, and we are also having the cigar beetle, the last one. Just 10 completed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. And 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And one more is tamarind beetle. So these are the internal feeders. Now we will classify the external feeders. One is red floor beetle. Then fig moth we will have. Then rice moth we will have. Then what we have? Capra beetle we have. Then any other else? And Plodia interpunctella, that is Indian meal moth. Forgot that, Indian meal moth. Okay. And in case of secondary pest, we are having the saw-toothed grain beetle, long-headed grain beetle, then storage mite we are having, and flat grain borer also we are having. Long-headed grain beetle. Then after saw-toothed. For a space is something less. Okay, here we will write the secondary pest. Many of the students shared yes. So this is the classification. Okay. That we will classify the stored grain pest into the primary pest and secondary pest. In primary pest means the pest which attacks the sound grains and in secondary pest they will attack the mildew products or the secondary products of the produce, not the sound grains. So again in the primary pest we will classify them as the internal feeders which feed internally, nothing but external feeders. And in internal feeders we are having the 10, that is rice weevil, sweet potato weevil here, yeah, sweet potato weevil, SPW, sweet potato weevil, cigarette or tobacco beetle, lesser green borer and pulse beetle, anguous grain moth and potato tuber moth and drugstore beetle, cigar beetle and tamarind beetle. This much we know in the internal feeders. And while coming to the external feeders, we are having the red floor beetle, fig moth, rice moth, capra beetle and Indian meal moth. And in the secondary pest, okay, here the place is not enough. Here I have mentioned it. Saw-toothed beetle, long-headed grain beetle and flat grain borer and the grain mite, that is Acarus syro. So in this pest, we need to know which of the following pest will causes damage in the field and the external conditions, field and storage conditions, nothing but. In that we will have anguous grain moth, we will have potato tuber moth, we will have anything else, and tamarind beetle we will have. Is this one? Yes, and anything? Only these three here. Yes, only these three, both the pest which attacks in the field and in the storage conditions. Then after the, and in case of external feeders like fig moth or rice moth, we can see the webbings of the grain. That is the peculiar symptom of those moths. Okay. Then any important point in this? And lesser grain borer is the serious pest on unhusked paddy. That is the important one again. Yes, only that much. So if you could remember in this classification in this flowchart format, it will be easy for you to answer this type of questions. So the pumpkin beetle is an example of monophagous pest, oligophagous pest, polyphagous pest or arboreal pest. Arboreal is nothing but bushes, the pest which attacks the bushes, arboreal pest. So anyone? Pumpkin beetle is an example of pumpkin beetle is an example of 2, 1 or B, 1, not 1, 2 or B, that is oligophagous pest. It will attack the rest of the cucurbits too. Okay, pumpkin beetle is not monophagous pest. It attacks the other members of the cucurbit family apart from pumpkin. Okay, so it is the oligophagous pest. And so here the topic came the monophagous pest. If we could list out some of the pests of the monophagous pest, what we can list out? Examples. Here monophagous thing we are writing. So starting with YSB, that is yellow stem borer, is one thing. Okay. Then after in mango we are having the mango nut weevil or stone weevil, something, stone weevil. And mango leaf hoppers we are having. And in case of banana, we are having the banana pseudostem weevil and banana rust thrips. Okay. So these are some important examples or peculiar symptoms of the this one, and even rhizome weevil too. In some books they have mentioned, but in some books they have not mentioned. Banana rhizome weevil too. Okay, these are the examples for that. And polyphagous pest, you know, Helicoverpa, Spodoptera, cutworms, and all those will come. Termites. And the next question is a butterfly pest of pulses is. Yes, and we have missed one thing, that is brinjal lacewing bug. Good. And the next question is butterfly pest of pulses. A butterfly pest of pulses is. Some students telling 3, some students telling 2. But they look carefully. The butterfly pest of pulses is which one? All the options are butterfly pest only, but specifically the pulses crop is important. Yes, now many students are answering it's 3 or C, that is Lampidas boeticus, that is nothing but blue butterfly. Lycanid pest. And Pelopidas mathias is rice skipper, Viracola isocrates is anar butterfly, Ergolis merionis castor butterfly. And while coming to this Ergolis merion, the feeding habit is what? By staying on the upper surface of the leaf, it will feed on the leaf. Okay, that is important nature of damage in case of Ergolis merion. Then Viracola isocrates or Diodrix isocrates is anar butterfly, Pelopidas mathias, same rice skipper. So this is thing. The most confusing question given by the NTA until now, and it was asked in the year ICAR JRF 2024 paper. Yes, anyone knows this answer? Yes, students, anyone knows? It's already, I think this question was discussed in the group like 3-4 times. 4, 4, 4. What for? Blindly you have remembered the option 4 or what? Yes, option is 4. That is correct. But why we need to know? So, rugospiraling whitefly, the scientific name is Alurodicus rugioperculatus. Yes, that thing we know. And spiraling whitefly is Alurodicus dispersus, we know. Silverleaf whitefly, Bemisia tabasi, and coconut whitefly is Alurodicus coicus. So, we should know. Even rugospiraling whitefly is the polyphagous pest. It will attack the many horticulture crops. Okay, and it is an invasive pest. Okay, then after here we should know, mostly people think rugospiraling whitefly is Encartia guadalupe. But when we come to the host preference, preference, it varies. Okay. Mainly the Encartia guadalupe, the parasite will be favored in the coconut whitefly, that is Alurodicus coicus. Okay. So with that single point, the host preference point, the option changes. So we need to attend carefully. So here Rugos spiraling whitefly goes to Encarsia noaceae. Okay, and spiraling whitefly is goes to Encarsia ineron. This we know. Silverleaf whitefly, that is Encarsia sophia. This we know. And coconut whitefly is Encarsia guadalupe. This B and C we know mostly, and the confusing options was A and D. Rugos spiraling whitefly and coconut whitefly. So for that, we need to follow the host preference principle. So the option will become the 4. A1, B3, then C4, D2. Yes, option 4. Okay. And the next question is statement wise question. That is mosquito blight of tea is caused by Helopeltis antoni. And the statement 2 is Mosquito blight of tea is caused by Helothes GA. Yes, option for this. Mosquito blight of tea is caused by Helopeltis antoni, or mosquito blight of tea is caused by Helothes GA. So many of the students gave the right answer, that is option 3 or C. The statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect. Mosquito blight of tea is caused by Helopeltis antoni, the meredbug pest, and Helothes GA is nothing but previous name of Helicoverpa armigera. So here this statement will become correct and this statement will become wrong. So statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect. And I said this point in case of the pest of field crops many times. Bemisia tabasi is commonly known as. Yes, Bemisia tabasi is commonly known as. Many of the students C33. Yes, correct. It is sweet potato whitefly. The common name of Bemisia tabasi is sweet potato whitefly. Okay. So again, here also we can see the matching, the 38th question. One side they have given the common names and the other side they have given the scientific names. Okay, cotton mirror bug, that is, if you could remember, it's well and good. But normally we know the pentatomid bug is Nezara viridula. This thing we know. And cotton mirror bug is Creonides bicertensi, that is option 1. And sorghum earhead bug, that is Calocoris angustatus, that is good. Then mung bean whitefly is Bemisia tabasi. This all we know. So even if you don't know the cotton mirror bug scientific name, if you could know the rest of the 3 options, even though you can opt it easily. Okay. So option A1 and B3. A1, B3, C4. A1, B3, C4, D2. Yes. Option 2 is the answer. And 39th question is webbing of leaves, buds and flowers and bores into the pods and feeds on the seeds are the damaging symptoms of. Mainly we have discussed this question in case of pest of pulses. Many of the students answering good, 2 or B. So webbing of the leaves or buds or flowers and bores into the pods is a peculiar symptom of Maruca vitrata. That is nothing but spotted pod borer. Maruca vitrata. Okay. And the last question is in 2025 paper it was asked. Okay, here we can see the again common names and this set scientific names, that is white rice borer, rice kipper, stripped rice borer and rice grasshopper. On the other side we can see that scientific names Pelopidus, Matthias, Triporiza innotata, Kylo suprasalis and Hieroglyphus bunyan. So we have discussed many times the taxonomic positions. The white rice borer is Triporiza innotata, we know. Rice kipper is Pelopidus Matthias, we know. And stripped rice borer is Chylosuppressalis and rice grasshopper is Hieroglyphus bunyan. And apart from this, we are having one more grasshopper, Oxynitidula also. Okay. So if we could opt for option Your option is missing actually. So A becomes 2, B becomes 1, then after stripped rice borer 3, C3, and D is 4. Okay, this is the option. So these are the last 5 years questions from 2020 to 2025 that were asked from the portion pest of field crops, horticulture crops, and stored grain pest. So if you could see that, we could analyze it very easily. In most of the times, they were giving the common names and the scientific name, and sometimes they were giving the peculiar symptoms of it. So you need to remember the taxonomic position, peculiar symptoms, and important management practice for that pest is more than enough from this portion. And from the stored grain pest, you need to know the classification of stored grain pest, means which acts as an internal feeder, which acts as external feeder. This will help you. So I hope you loved the session and it was very clear and all. Thank you. So you can comment down your valuable comments in the chat box. That's it. Bye.